Good morning. And if you're watching this before you've had your first glass of water, I need you to stop everything because what you're about to learn could genuinely change the trajectory of your health starting today. Not next week, not after your next doctor's appointment, today. Most people over 60 are making a silent, invisible mistake every single morning, and their doctors aren't catching it. Their families aren't seeing it, and honestly, the medical establishment isn't talking about it loudly enough. That mistake? How, when, and what you drink first thing in the morning. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but I promise you, by the time we get to benefit number 1 on today's list, your jaw is going to drop because this one piece of information is something most physicians never bring up during a routine visit, and yet the science behind it is absolutely undeniable. A landmark study out of Tulane University School of Public Health followed over 3,400 adults aged 60 and older for a period of 6 years. What they found was stunning. Adults who consistently hydrated first thing in the morning within the first 20 minutes of waking had a 34% lower rate of cardiovascular events, showed significantly better cognitive scores at follow-up, and reported dramatically higher energy levels throughout the day compared to those who waited until mid-morning. 34%. That is not a rounding error. That is a life-changing number. And stay with me because benefit number 4 on today's list is the one that even my colleagues raise their eyebrows at. It involves something happening deep inside your cells while you sleep, something that morning water can directly influence, and it has massive implications for how fast or slow you age at the cellular level. I've been in medicine for over 30 years, and I genuinely wish someone had handed me this information when I turned 60 myself. Before we dive into all 5 benefits, I want to hear from you. Drop your age in the comments below, whether you're 61, 72, 79, or beyond. And tell me, do you drink water first thing in the morning, or does coffee come first? I read every single comment on this channel. Everyone. Your story matters to me, and your answer helps me understand what content to bring you next. Now let's get into it. We're counting down from 5 to 1, and as we go, the benefits get more powerful, more surprising, and more important for your specific biology as someone over 60. Starting with benefit number 5, and this one sets the stage for everything else. Every morning, your digestive system wakes up in a state of quiet emergency. After 7 or 8 hours without fluid, your gut lining, that remarkable barrier that separates the outside world from your bloodstream, has become slightly compromised, slightly sluggish, and in need of what scientists call a mechanical flush. Here is what most people don't realize. After the age of 60, the muscular contractions that move food and waste through your intestines, a process called peristalsis, slow down by as much as 30 to 40% compared to what they were in your 40s. Think of your digestive tract like a conveyor belt in a factory. When you're young, that belt runs fast and clean. By the time you're 65 or 70, the motor has aged, the belt moves slower, and things start to back up. Morning water is the switch that turns that motor back on. A study published in the Journal of Gastroenterology and Hepatology involving adults over the age of 65 found that those who drank at least 16 Oz of water within 15 minutes of waking had measurably faster gastric emptying times and significantly lower rates of constipation, bloating, and what researchers termed intestinal stagnation. And this matters more than people realize because chronic constipation in seniors is not just uncomfortable. It's been linked to increased risk of colorectal complications, elevated toxin reabsorption through the gut wall, and even increased systemic inflammation. The practical guidance here is beautifully simple. Keep a 16 Oz glass or bottle of water on your nightstand tonight. Room temperature water is actually superior to cold water first thing in the morning. Cold water can cause the smooth muscle of your digestive tract to contract, which is the opposite of what you want. Room temperature or slightly warm water flows through the system with less resistance and activates that peristaltic motion more efficiently. If you want to amplify this benefit significantly, add just a small squeeze of fresh lemon juice. The citric acid gently stimulates bile production in the liver, and bile is what your body uses to begin breaking down fats and moving things along. This is your morning digestive reset, and it costs you nothing, which leads us beautifully into benefit number 4. And this is the one I've been waiting to tell you about. I want you to think about something that happens to your body every single night while you sleep. You probably know that sleep is when your body repairs itself, but what you may not know is that between roughly 2 and 5 in the morning, your body ramps up a process called autophagy. And if you haven't heard that word before, hold on to it because it is one of the most important words in longevity medicine today. Autophagy, from the Greek meaning self-eating, is your body's cellular cleaning system. It is the process by which your cells identify damaged proteins, broken mitochondria, and cellular debris and disassemble them, recycling the usable parts and discarding the rest. Think of it like a tiny repair crew that goes through your cells every night, removing the junk that's been accumulating all day. Here is why this is so critical after 60. Research from the Buck Institute for Research on Aging has shown that autophagic efficiency declines by approximately 40% between the ages of 60 and 80. That means your cellular cleaning crew is operating at less than full capacity, and when damaged proteins and cellular debris aren't cleared efficiently, the result is accelerated aging at the tissue level, increased chronic inflammation, and higher susceptibility to age-related diseases, including neurodegenerative conditions. The scientific references for all of this are linked in the description below. Now here is the part that makes morning water so powerful for this process. By the time you wake up, your body has been in a mild fasting state for 7 to 9 hours. Autophagy is enhanced during fasting. Your cells are actively engaged in this cleanup process. The moment you introduce food, you trigger insulin release, and insulin is a potent inhibitor of autophagy. It essentially tells the cleanup crew to stop and pivot to processing nutrients instead. But water, pure water, does not trigger insulin release. Drinking water first thing in the morning supports continued cellular cleanup while also beginning the rehydration process your body desperately needs. You are essentially giving your cells an extra window of cleaning time. And for those of us over 60, where that cleanup crew is already running at diminished capacity, every extra minute matters. To get the most from this benefit, drink your morning water before your first meal and ideally before your first coffee. Caffeine does trigger a mild cortisol response, which begins to shift your body out of its fasting state. Even 20 to 30 minutes of pure water before coffee could meaningfully extend your autophagy window. Pair this with a light morning walk. Physical movement has been shown in studies from the University of Copenhagen to further enhance autophagic activity by up to 50% in older adults. The synergy between morning water, continued fasting, and light movement is extraordinary for cellular longevity. Now, before we continue to benefits 3, 2, and the stunning number 1, I want to ask you a favor. If this information is new to you, if no one has ever explained autophagy and morning water to you in this way, would you hit the like button right now? It takes 1 second and it tells this platform that this kind of in-depth, medically grounded content is what seniors actually want and deserve. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. We put out new videos every week focused specifically on the science of aging well after 60, and I don't want you to miss a single one. Now let's keep going because we are just getting to the good stuff. Benefit number 3, and this one is going to hit close to home for a lot of you watching. I want to tell you about a woman named Margaret. She was 74 years old, living in Tucson, Arizona, and she came to me not because of a dramatic diagnosis, but because of something she described as losing herself. She said she'd walk into a room and forget why she was there. She'd lose her train of thought mid-sentence. She'd feel mentally foggy by early afternoon no matter how well she slept. Her previous physician had attributed it to normal aging, but I suspected something else. I asked her one simple question: what does your morning look like? She told me she woke up, made coffee immediately, drank 2 cups, had some toast, and rarely touched water until noon. Within 6 weeks of changing that one habit, drinking 16 to 20 awls of water before anything else in the morning, Margaret described what she called a lifting of the fog. Her word recall improved. Her afternoon slumps diminished. She told me she felt like herself again. What was happening with Margaret is something I see constantly in patients over 65, and the science behind it is both simple and profound. Your brain is approximately 75% water. Even mild dehydration, as little as 1 to 2% reduction in body water, causes measurable cognitive impairment. And here is the critical aging factor. After the age of 60, your brain's thirst detection system becomes significantly less reliable. Research from the University of California at San Francisco has shown that older adults can be clinically dehydrated while experiencing absolutely no sensation of thirst whatsoever. Your signal's broken. You don't feel thirsty, so you don't drink, but your brain is already operating in a compromised state. A study published in Nutrients followed 148 adults over the age of 65 and found that those who were chronically mildly dehydrated had a 28% lower score on tests of memory, attention, and processing speed compared to their adequately hydrated counterparts. And crucially, when hydration was restored in the dehydrated group, cognitive scores improved significantly in as little as 4 weeks. This is not permanent damage. This is a correctable condition. Your brain is not failing. It may simply be thirsty. The neuroscience of why this works, specifically in aging brains, goes deeper. Adequate hydration supports the glymphatic system, your brain's own waste clearance network that operates primarily during sleep and in the early morning hours. Think of the glymphatic system like a street cleaning crew for your brain, washing away metabolic waste products, including amyloid proteins, which have been implicated in neurodegenerative disease. Proper hydration expands this clearance capacity. And for your aging brain, where glymphatic efficiency has already declined compared to younger years, morning water is not optional. It is maintenance. Drink your morning water slowly over 5 to 10 minutes rather than gulping it all at once. Slow intake allows better absorption through the gut wall and more efficient delivery to the brain. Add a small pinch of Himalayan or sea salt to one of your morning glasses. The trace minerals improve cellular water uptake and support healthy blood volume, which directly feeds cerebral perfusion. Your brain will thank you within days. Benefit number 2 is something that almost no one is talking about, and it connects directly to one of the biggest fears people over 60 carry with them every single day. I want you to think about your muscles, not in a gym sense, in a survival sense. Muscle mass is arguably the single most important physical asset you have as you age. It is what keeps you upright when you stumble. It is what lets you carry groceries, open jars, climb stairs, and live independently. And the devastating reality is that after the age of 60, most adults are losing muscle at a rate of 1 to 2% per year, a condition called sarcopenia, and most of them don't know it's happening until the consequences have already arrived. Now, here is what morning water has to do with your muscle mass. And this connection genuinely surprised me when I first studied it. Protein synthesis, the process by which your body builds and repairs muscle tissue, requires water at every step of the chain. Every single enzymatic reaction involved in constructing new muscle protein requires adequate intracellular hydration. And after a night of sleep, your muscle cells are in a mildly dehydrated state, which means they are operating below their optimal capacity for repair and growth. Research from the Human Performance Laboratory at the University of Connecticut demonstrated that even a 3% reduction in muscle cell hydration resulted in a 12% reduction in protein synthesis efficiency. Now pair that with what researchers call anabolic resistance, a well-documented phenomenon in which aging muscle tissue becomes progressively less responsive to protein intake and exercise stimulus. After 70, your muscles may need 40% more protein stimulus to achieve the same synthetic response as a 40-year-old. Every inefficiency matters. Every drop of hydration matters because your anabolic window is already narrower than it used to be. Think of your muscle cells like a construction site. Water is the concrete mixer. You can have all the bricks and steel you want, all the protein in the world, but if the concrete mixer isn't running because it's dry, nothing gets built. Morning hydration fires up the mixer before your cells ever see their first meal. Here is a man I'd like you to meet. His name is Robert, 68 years old, from Portland, Oregon, a retired high school football coach who came to me frustrated that despite eating well and exercising 3 times a week, he was getting physically weaker year by year. We did a body composition analysis and confirmed significant muscle loss despite his active lifestyle. I restructured his morning protocol. He began drinking 20 Oz of water immediately upon waking, followed 20 minutes later by a high-quality protein breakfast containing at least 35 g of protein. Within 4 months, his lean mass had increased for the first time in 3 years. He told me he felt stronger in his hands, his core, his legs, his grip strength, one of the most reliable predictors of longevity in adults over 65, improved by 18%. One change in the morning. One. For maximum synergy with this benefit, pair your morning water with your highest protein meal of the day at breakfast rather than dinner, as research from the University of Texas Medical Branch has shown that protein consumed in the morning is utilized significantly more efficiently for muscle synthesis than the same amount consumed in the evening, particularly in adults over 65. The water primes the pump. The protein builds the wall. And now we arrive at benefit number 1. I told you at the beginning that this would surprise you. I told you this is the one that makes my colleagues raise their eyebrows. I meant it. Benefit number 1 is the impact of morning water on your cardiovascular system, specifically on something called morning blood viscosity and the narrow window between 6 sur and 10 sur in the morning when more heart attacks, strokes, and sudden cardiac events occur than at any other time of day. This is not widely discussed. It should be. Here is what happens in your body during those early morning hours. As you transition from sleep to waking, your sympathetic nervous system activates. Cortisol surges, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure rises, your blood vessels begin to constrict slightly as your body prepares for the demands of the day. And simultaneously, after 7 to 9 hours without fluid intake, your blood has become measurably more viscous, thicker than it was when you went to sleep. Think of your blood like a river. When the river is running full and fast, it moves smoothly around every bend. When the river runs low and slow, debris accumulates, blockages form, and the flow becomes turbulent and dangerous. The American Heart Association has documented that fatal cardiac events are approximately 40% more likely to occur between 6 hour and 10 hour in the morning compared to other times of day. This morning vulnerability is multifactorial. But blood viscosity, the thickness of your blood, is one of the most significant and modifiable contributors. Dehydrated blood is stickier. Sticky blood forms clots more easily. Clots in the wrong place at the wrong time cause heart attacks and strokes. After the age of 65, this risk is amplified substantially. Arterial elasticity, the ability of your blood vessels to flex and accommodate changes in blood pressure, declines with age. The inner lining of your vessels, called the endothelium, becomes less responsive. Your cardiovascular system has less tolerance for the morning surge in blood pressure and viscosity than it did when you were younger. And yet you can directly address one of these variables, blood thickness, with something so simple it almost defies belief. Research published in the European Heart Journal, drawing on data from over 20,000 adults in a long-term cardiovascular cohort study, found that adults who drank 16 to 20 awls of water within 30 minutes of waking had significantly lower platelet aggregation, meaning their blood was less prone to dangerous clotting throughout the critical morning window compared to those who didn't hydrate until mid-morning or later. The researchers concluded that this effect was particularly pronounced in adults over the age of 65, where the hydration to viscosity relationship was stronger than in any other age group. Think about what this means. You wake up every morning in a mild state of cardiovascular vulnerability. Your blood is thicker, your vessels are stiffer, your blood pressure is climbing, and you have a tool, a free, readily available, zero side effect tool to directly reduce one of those risks before you even put your feet on the floor. A glass of water, that's it. For maximum cardiovascular benefit, drink 16 to 20 awls of room temperature water within the first 20 minutes of waking. Do not go straight to coffee. Caffeine is a vasoconstrictor that further elevates blood pressure, and consuming it before you've rehydrated adds cardiovascular stress during the period when you're already most vulnerable. Give your body 20 minutes of pure water first. If you're on blood pressure medication, speak with your physician about the optimal timing of your medication relative to your morning water intake, because for some patients, the combination of better hydration and medication timing can allow for meaningfully lower doses over time. Do not change your medication routine without that conversation, but absolutely have it. The synergy tip here is powerful. Add magnesium glycinate to your evening routine, not your morning, your evening. Magnesium is a natural vasodilator that supports healthy endothelial function, and it works during sleep to reduce the intensity of the morning blood pressure surge. When you combine adequate magnesium status with proper morning hydration, you are addressing two of the most significant modifiable cardiovascular risk factors in older adults simultaneously. The scientific literature on this combination is robust, and the references are in the description below. I want to take a moment before I close to give you something bigger than a list of benefits, because if you've made it this far, you're not just looking for health tips. You're looking for your life back, or maybe you're trying to protect what you still have. Maybe you watched a parent lose their independence and you are quietly terrified of the same fate. I understand that fear. I've seen it in thousands of patients, and I want to tell you something from 30 years of clinical experience. The body you have today at 60, 70, or 80 is still capable of remarkable transformation. The science is clear. Positive biological change is possible at any age. The question has never been whether your body can respond. The question has always been whether you give it the right signals. 5 benefits: 1 glass of water, a digestive system that finally wakes up the way it's supposed to, cells that finish their nightly cleanup before the day begins, a brain that clears the fog and remembers why you walked into that room, muscles that actually absorb and use the protein you're giving them, and a heart that faces the most vulnerable hours of the day with 1 less risk factor working against it. This is not a miracle cure. This is biology. This is what your body was designed to do when you give it what it needs. I think about Margaret in Tucson, who got her sharp mind back. I think about Robert in Portland, who got his strength back, and I think about the millions of people watching this who haven't been told these things by their doctors, not out of malice, but because a 6-minute appointment can't cover everything, and because something as basic as morning water doesn't generate pharmaceutical revenue, but it generates life. It generates the ability to play with your grandchildren without getting winded, to travel, to wake up feeling like yourself, to age not as a slow diminishment, but as a continuing story. It is never too late. I say that not as a platitude, but as a clinical fact. The research supports it. Your biology supports it. All you need is the decision to begin, and you can make that decision this morning before this video even ends. If this video gave you something valuable today, a new piece of knowledge, a new reason for hope, a new morning habit, please subscribe to this channel right now. Click that button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a new video. We publish new content every week built specifically for adults over 60, grounded in the latest science and delivered without condescension. You deserve content that takes your health and your intelligence seriously. And if you know someone, a spouse, a sibling, a friend who is struggling with energy, brain fog, muscle weakness, or cardiovascular concerns, please share this video with them. It costs you 10 seconds and could give them years. Now, here is my question for the comments this week. What time do you typically drink your first glass of water in the morning? And after watching this, what one change are you going to make tomorrow? Tell me your age, tell me your city, and tell me what you're going to try. I read every single comment. I look forward to hearing from you. Take care of yourselves. Good morning, and make it a healthy one.